Hello, this is Lena Boyd. I am submitting my video for the recommendations for change assignment. I actually did 3 different sections, so I'll kind of go pretty quickly, be brief, so I can include everything. My first section that I think we could make some changes would be homework expectations. I think first and foremost, kids are expected to finish their homework at home when they don't get it completed throughout the day, and I think that can create a number of problems. I think lack of parent involvement at home, whether they're just not at home, they're working, they have strange hours. Siblings are responsible for helping kids, their younger siblings, with homework, or maybe the parents that are willing and wanting to help their students with their homework just simply don't have the background knowledge or the education to help them. So students might be finishing their homework and completing it incorrectly, or they might just not be finishing at all. And I also think that kids have access to more resources at school than they do at home that are living in poverty. So they might have access to iPads, computers, laptops at school, and they don't have those items at home. So it's hard for them to either complete assignments or, use them to look up information, complete research, things like that. And also, homes that are affected by poverty oftentimes are loud, overcrowded, and just overall stressful for students. And so it's just not a very conducive environment for students to sit down, open their books, and get started on homework if it's just kind of a hectic environment. So some things that we could do as a school to make those, to make it more inclusive as far as homework expectations could go. Teachers could provide a time either first thing in the morning, right after recess, at the end of the day, where students have an opportunity to finish those assignments before they go home, gives them a couple extra minutes with teachers, getting that direct instruction and getting those things done so they don't have to worry about it once they go home. And they also could have more time, during those designated times to complete that work. They also would have availability to laptops, computers, and any technology in that way. My specific role, I could absolutely coordinate with teachers and see, when are they having these extra times for students to get their work completed, and I can come into the classroom, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I meet my minutes that are required by the IEP, getting my students the help that they need for their speech and language objectives, and I'm also helping them get their homework completed so they don't have to worry about it when they go home at night. So that sounds like a win-win situation to me. The next section would be field trips and school events. Most field trips happen during the day. Most school events, dances, school carnivals, family reading nights, things like that, those are happening at night. I think in both cases, transportation can be a challenge for families that are living in poverty. Either they don't have a car of their own, or they rely on public transportation, and that can just be challenging. Not only getting their kids to these events, but also making sure that they have transportation there. So that can be a challenge. I also think that field trips sometimes can have a little bit of a registration fee or a extra fee of some sort. School dances, family reading nights, extracurricular events like that almost always have some sort of additional fee. And I think even if it's a small fee, that's a lot to ask of a family that's living in poverty. Just trying to make it day by day, and you're asking for $15 for a meal and a ticket to a dance, that's kind of a big price to ask. So I think those definitely are factors that are making field trips and school events not as inclusive as we would like. And also, parents that are affected by poverty might not be able to take off work. They might not have your typical hours. They might not be able to take off work to come in for those school events or come in and be a chaperone for those field trips. So the things that we can do as a school to make that more inclusive would be just using a budget to fund some of those field trip events, or covering the cost of those special events that are happening after school for the families that are living in poverty. Teachers can also just do their best to make sure they plan field trips that are free or very, very low cost that can be covered by that budget. There also can be a designated person to take pictures and videos at those field trips to make sure that the families that are not able to come and chaperone and watch their kids learn out in the community are still able to watch them through pictures and videos. We also could do fundraisers to help raise money for those events and field trips. And our home interventionists could also arrange public transportation for those families that would like to go. They just simply don't have the means of getting there. What I can do specifically would be donating directly to the budget that would help pay for kids do these fun things. I could also help run the fundraisers, and I also could offer to take pictures or the videos and be that extra set of hands at those field trips so that way their parents can see their child out in the community and out learning and participating in those hands-on activities. Very quickly, I think conferences and IEP meetings are also an area of change. I think I don't really see a lot of parent participation oftentimes from parents that are affected by poverty. I think the lower education and just lower level of background knowledge involving the IEP process and their rights as parents with children that have special needs. I just oftentimes see a lot of parents nodding and smiling and not really participating and having that reciprocal conversation that you would like to see in an IEP meeting, which is unfortunate, and it's frustrating, and it's frustrating for the families, it's frustrating for the team. So I think oftentimes we also have a lot of parents that just don't come to meetings, either for transportation or simply because of their work schedule. So what we can do as a school to make that better and more inclusive for families would be hosting phone conferences, so that way families don't have to worry about taking the time off and worry about getting transportation to and from the school for the meetings. Our home interventionists could also set up public transportation, and I think ultimately it's the case manager's job to provide some sort of helpful handout that's kind of describing in layman's terms the IEP process and, how families can be involved and how they can be an active part of their child's educational team to make sure that they're getting the things that they need. So what I can do specifically is providing those IEP documents prior to the meetings, making sure families are well aware of their students' goals and objectives before the meeting, and also kind of creating those cheat sheets with the special ed team, just to make sure that families are informed. You want them informed and active and participating in meetings, and really feeling like their voice is heard in regards to their child and their education. So I think those are all very crucial changes that I think would be very helpful to implement in my school. But yeah, thank you for listening. Sorry it's a little bit long.